Ta-da! Hey, we're live. Apparently, Ryan is stuck.
I'm your host. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. All right. How's it going, everybody? That's how they do it in the arenas.
It is.
Yeah.
You should do
Except
that.
for without the long pre-pose. Like you don't have to pause for like a really long time before you say it. That was that was what they call making it up on the spot.
Yeah. But you did good.
Thanks.
Except for the brief, long hesitation.
No, I thought that was my best part. Darn it.
Oh, it was the anticipation. We were all
that was the best part. That was like, let's see, how long I can just wait here. Hey guys, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about all the issues that are going on in your guys' life. Whether that be something that's causing you stress or family issues, or maybe a recent death in your friend or your family or whatever it is. If you're having a hard time, we're here for you. We're basically just trying to give some advice from friendly perspective, some encouragement. But remember, we're not professionals, so also you don't have to listen to anything we say. But sometimes it can be good too. And sometimes we have the totally wrong idea. So, who knows? Anyways, yes. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I see you, Repa, Pokemon fan. Hey, what's up? Zion, Kendra, CDVNL. You, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Great. How you doing?
Man, I'm so great. You wouldn't even believe it.
I wouldn't believe it. You're probably right.
You wouldn't believe I got to talk to the cops today.
I don't have the strength in my imagination to believe whatever you've got to say about how your day was.
I'm sure. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's very incredible.
You got to talk to the cops today, huh?
I did. I got to talk to the cops. I had a very interesting day yesterday in my job as an inspector.
Mm-hmm.
I was on like my second to last inspection. I was really close to the end of the day. And I was out front of somebody's house and somebody was upset that I was there, which is kind of normal. That happens. Yeah. But so anyway, so I left, and then apparently this person followed me they got in their truck and they followed me. They followed me for like 15 miles. Which was crazy. And then towards the end, they were pulling up next to me and like doing all this gesturing through their window and stuff. And I'm like driving and they're like practically running me off the road. I'm looking at them. I'm like, what are you doing?
Whoa.
And then I pulled off this road and then this lady, she's like swearing at me and all this kind of crazy stuff from her truck. It was a lady.
Wow.
And I was like, what is going on? And so then, so she's swearing at me and yelling at me, what blah, 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 F-bombs all over the place. And I said, why did you chase me? Like, seriously, if you're afraid, if someone's freaking you out outside your house, you should call the police. You don't go chase them. I'm like reprimanding her.
That's awesome.
I'm like, you need to call the police. You don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me. I could be crazy.
Like you. No, right. Wow, dude, that's crazy.
Yep. So then she took my advice, must be, and called the police, because then I got a call from the police.
Oh, nice.
No, yeah. We've got a report that your car was someplace. Yeah, it was lots of places, actually. This happened to be XXX address, whatever. They're just like, yep. Like, okay. Yeah, let me tell you about what happened.
Yeah.
So I got to talk to the cops. It was fun.
Yeah. They're usually pretty easy to deal with.
Oh, they're cool. I mean,
yeah.
You just be straightforward with them and calm and collected, and then you're fine. And treat them like a person. That's one of the things that I had to learn, because when I was younger, usually when I was up to no good, I was all freaked out about cops. It's like this, oh, it's a cop. It's like this robot thing that is a policeman. It's not a real person.
Robot, we arrest you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but when you realize, oh no, they're people too, just like us. They got hopes and dreams and stressed outness, and they got problems and everything, just like everybody else.
Yep. So true.
And as long as you're empathetic for that, man, everything goes so much smoother. Just treat them with respect and be calm. And it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. That's so true.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's say okay. Looks like Kendra's got some stuff here. We also have some stuff from last stream.
We do?
Yeah. So, well, not last stream, but between streams.
Yeah, we got a few in here.
We've got a few in here that happened between streams. So we got Science Rocks. Science Rocks doesn't appear to be here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Usually chimes in if he is. We've got something from Uriel, says, Sadie P, why are you so handsome? My mom made me this way, and God. So you have to ask them. I didn't do much. Oh, and my dad too, I guess.
Takes genetics.
Yeah. It's actually, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. You've got the eyes that see beauty in me. I did nothing. You did it all. You did all of that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's Pantene Pro V shampoo.
What's that?
And conditioner.
Oh, yeah. Shampoo. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's shampoo. It's conditioner. It's
for the beard. You got to like shampoo.
Yeah, for the beard. I mean, beard. It's not for the hair.
Like, yeah, right. The hair, you just let it, whatever. But the beard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the hair does. Just leave that alone. It will do its thing. But the beard, you really gotta put, everything you can do, everything you can put in your beard, you just gotta put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this packet of silica gel.
Oh yeah, that's really good for it.
Yeah, and this cloth is probably good on my beard.
It is. Most things are good on beards.
Yeah, and this is probably the best
salad dressing.
Yeah.
That chip clip.
The chip clip is good on beard. You can't go wrong with chip clip on your beard. You cannot go wrong with chip clip on your beard. You do any job interview you could possibly do with a chip clip on your beard, you're not getting in there. I'm sorry. They're gonna turn you down unless you're like going for something like a comedy act or clown or something. If you got that confidence, if you got the confidence to do it, then yeah, hey, you might actually have it in.
You know, but it's easier when you're by yourself on a camera and, you know, like
if you're with friends.
Or with friends. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we are. We're with friends here.
Yeah, that's
which is awesome.
So yeah, we got one from Akil. We got one from Artist 22, which is Kendra.
That's Kendra. Mm-hmm.
So Kendra is actually here. Akil is also here.
Akil is here.
You messaged me your problem, Amira. You said, "I'll look."
I've not seen Akil yet. Am I missing him? I mean, I am missing him if he's not here, because, you know. Excuse me. Oh, yep. He is here. Amira got something. Amira is still sad.
Right. You said you messaged me the problem, but I don't remember. I don't know what the problem is. Could you write it out? We got a bunch of hot dogs here. I found the taco. Nice. That was a fun game. Pokemon. Yo no hablo en español. Muy mal. Yeah.
Haley, you're leaving already?
Wow. Okay. Bye-bye, Haley. That was quick. You said on Discord, you said you gave me permission to talk about it, but you didn't tell me what it was. You just said, I guess feel free to talk about that next stream.
Hi, Timothy.
I would post it on the website, but I don't have an account. And I said, you can make an account. I don't know exactly what you're referring to because there wasn't just one thing. And if it's our conversation, then we got to fill in Joe too about what the whole conversation was too. So I don't know. I think it'd be best if you wrote it out in question form and then we can read it for you. Sorry, Amira. I don't mean to complicate things, but yeah, it's a lot easier to talk about an issue if we have the issue kind of condensed or approachable. Because otherwise, right now, I would have to try to figure out what to say for the problem, and I'm probably not going to get it right. So it might be better if you do it. Again, sorry to complicate things.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, while we're getting that kind of figured out, do you want to handle? I see Akil is here and Kendra's here, and she doesn't know how to form it into a question. Also, Haley was saying she was dealing with friend drama, but she may be leaving.
Okay.
Haley, if you're going to stick around, we could talk about the friend drama if you wanted to ask about that. And
that's true. Yeah. Okay.
So, which one you want to grab? Haley, always important, Haley.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out how to do Amira's, but it's just I'm having difficulty figuring out how I want to say it because I'm trying to remember the conversation we had. I think it's something like this. If you want to do Amira's, it's something like this. She has the friend that that she what's that called? Her crush, her girl crush friend.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay. So there was an incident where they were hanging out together and she was joking around and she did something or said something that caused her friend pain, but she didn't pick up on it right away. And since then, they've been having trouble getting closer together, or every time Amira is near her, she feels awkward or weird or disconnected.
Amira feels awkward, or the friend feels awkward?
Amira feels awkward. And I think that's also in relation to how her friend is acting maybe a little bit different than normal. Ever since the joke was made that wasn't on purpose, wasn't intended to hurt them. But yeah. And she's struggling with talking about her feelings in that sense with her friend.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's the best I can do.
Is that pretty much the gist of it, Amira? So what happened? Let me see if I get this. So what happened was, Amira, you have this really close friend, a crush that you guys were growing close together, and then you made a comment or a joke or something that hurt your friend, and that it wasn't something you intended, but it did hurt your friend. And then now she forgave me, but it goes deeper than that. How when you say it goes deeper than the forgiveness, what do you mean? Is it all inside you then, or is it still something between you and her? Because that can make a difference. I mean, I know there have been a lot of times when I have done something or said something and unintentionally I've hurt somebody's feelings or made somebody upset. I've done that so many times, I can't even count them. I've done it to my wife. I've done it to my kids. I've probably done it to Ryan.
I don't remember.
I've done, I'm sure I've done it to Jesse. And he's muted, so he can't say anything right now. Kind of both. Okay. All right. Well, at any rate, you talked about it with her and she has given you forgiveness. So that's a really, really cool thing. So now the next step probably is to forgive yourself. And that can be a really hard thing to do too. Recently I did something that hurt one of my sons, and I remember that incident and I remember his face, and I think about that, and he forgave me for that incident. I told him I was sorry and he forgave me and we reconciled and all that. But even still after that, I was like, okay, I really am upset with myself that I didn't think before I did that. I didn't think before I offended him that way. And I don't want to be that way. So I need to do something to fix myself in order to do that. And so some of that in my case came through different disciplines where not like I'm punishing myself, but just, different disciplines like fasting or whatever, just to, and extra prayer to try and repair a part of me that's a little bit more impatient, basically. So, because I realized I needed to grow in patience, in the virtue of patience in this particular incident. So in order to do that, there are the disciplines of like fasting and prayer and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I was doing in order to help improve myself in that regard. It wasn't really like a penance. It was just kind of like something I would do to hopefully grow into a more patient person, I guess. So that's one thing. I mean, and I still, even now, it's been a while since I did this, a week or so. And when I think about it, I still get that guilt, that stab of guilt. If you were here on the last stream, Ryan talked about guilt in a great way. He was like, if you're forgiven for something, if you've been forgiven and you're reconciled for something, then that guilt you feel might just be from the enemy trying to make you doubt yourself, trying to get you to fall into self-doubt and fall into, more of a down way. So that makes you less effective. It makes you less of a good person. Well, I guess not less of a good person, but it makes you sad. It makes you not as present to the people around you, because now you have this self-conscious cloud around you of doubt. And that can be really hard to deal with. So, I think it's really important that you've gone through the process of apologizing and being forgiven for that. And now the next step is forgiving yourself and reminding yourself that, yeah, you are reconciled with your friend. You've gotten forgiveness from your friend. And even though there may be those awkward times, it might feel a little weird while you're kind of getting back to normal. If the forgiveness was genuine, then you really have no reason to doubt. You really have no reason to fear anymore about this particular situation. Now, it doesn't hurt to think, okay, what are some things I can do so that doesn't happen again? So I can put up a wall against that type of a thing. And that's just the same as what we do with anything. It's the experimenting and learning and making a mistake and growing from it and all of that. You just move forward through making mistakes and learning from them. And this is no different. You made a mistake. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't like you meant to do something that harmed your friend. You just did it. It was a moment. You made a mistake. It hurt. And here's the thing. We always hurt the people closest to us the most. It's the human condition, just because of who we are, because of how we are as human beings. We make mistakes. We're not perfect. None of us are. And so we tend to hurt people. And because the people are closest to us are the closest to us, they get hurt the most and the most often. It just kind of is the way it is. And that's part of, actually, it's part of building a relationship. When you hurt somebody or get hurt by somebody and then reconcile, that is such a beautiful process because there's grace involved. You know, you're giving that person grace. If you've been offended and you forgive that other person, that heals you and it heals them. And then vice versa. Whenever that transaction takes place, it's a great bonding experience because you get to recognize that this other person isn't perfect, or you're not perfect, whichever. You get to realize that, but still you can love each other amidst that imperfection. And you can desire for them to be better, but you can still love them just as they are. And that's a beautiful thing, because now you're graciously giving love to another person regardless of their faults. And so I really want to just stress the fact that if she gave you forgiveness for this incident, then that's a very beautiful thing and something that you can be very thankful for and something that you guys can grow with. So I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. I bet you he's chomping at the bit to say something good because.
No, that was great, Joe. Amir just said, I can't send the whole message because of my limited characters. But basically, I still feel bad about the situation, and my feeling for her keeps growing. It's driving me crazy. I constantly fear the thought of her leaving me. Yeah, so first, I would just re-listen to everything Joe said, because that's true. I mean, you have to make sure you forgive yourself. And if she's forgiven you, then you just have to accept that and believe in her. You have to believe that she's forgiven you. But, even after someone says, like, I forgive you, right? There's still that time of repair or strengthening.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone, just because you have okay, if you have a problem in a relationship and someone forgives you for your wrong, that means you don't owe them anything anymore. But that still means there might be some feeling of distrust or feeling of worry that they're going to hurt you again, that sort of thing. And that's pretty normal. What you have to do in that situation is just do your best at trying to make the relationship work. And how do you do that? I think the first thing is you have to, you go out of your way for them, right? But also just be you. Be the person that they grew to like in the first place, right? Here's the thing, like, if you're really worried about messing up and pushing them away or messing up and them leaving you, it's okay to worry about that thing, but it's going to make you act unnatural. It's going to make you act a little bit more shy or a little bit less outgoing or whatever, a little bit less fun. Because if you're worried about messing up, you're usually not as fun as you normally are. You're usually not bringing the energy that you normally bring to the conversations or to the whatever the activities are. And when that's the case, you kind of make the friendship or the relationship grow cold or grow sour, because your emotions and your actions towards that person, and when you're with that person, are not you, and not at a level of energy that they like. You're not uplifting them. Kind of what you're doing is you're dragging everybody down, because you're worried, and your worry causes stress on you, but also them. So when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're just worried and worried and worried and stressed over maybe you messing up or them leaving, or, you know, you not growing closer with the person the right way, if that's what you're concentrated on, that's going to change how you act when you're around them. So you really got to make sure when you have that feeling, you do your best to ignore it and continue trying to just be yourself, be open and being fun and etc. Try to take that feeling and ignore it. Because yeah, I mean, I've done that myself. I've had relationships or people that I really, really, really liked, you know, like crushes that I've had. And through my relationship with them, certain things went wrong. Like I made mistakes or whatever. And then because I made those mistakes, I kept on worrying about making mistakes. And then I made more mistakes. And I kept on worrying about making more mistakes and pushing them away. And now they think I'm a terrible person. Now they think I'm messed up and blah, 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 blah. You know, and then things just kept on getting worse and worse because my attitude around them was not the attitude that builds relationships. It was the attitude that either keeps things as they are or makes them slowly fade back. So when you feel that and you notice your attitude's not in the right place, you got to just attack it. You got to just be like, look, I'm going to go out and be energetic. I'm going to go out and smile. And sure, I did something wrong and I've apologized. They've forgiven me. Then I should act like nothing is wrong. Because if I act like nothing is wrong, then that's exactly how I'm supposed to act, because they've already forgiven me. So honestly, I think that's my best advice. Because I've definitely caused harm in my relationships by worrying about the relationship. But when I've worried about the relationship and then been in the relationship and being like, no, you know what? I'm just going to go out and try to make this fun. I'm going to go out of my way and try to just, I know I feel like crap, but I'm going to go out of my way and try to make this fun. And you know what happens? I start having fun. The relationship grows. We go closer together and I strengthen myself. And it was like, wow, my worries were doing nothing for me. You know? So yeah, I mean,
one thing, Ryan, that you have touched on before is the fact of self-consciousness being an issue a lot of times. You know, when we turn our thoughts inward on ourselves too much, that's where a lot of depression comes from. A lot of discouragement can come from that. And in this case, because you're concerned about that you might screw something up, that those thoughts are centered on yourself. So rather than giving love to the people around you and to this person in general, what's happening is your thoughts and your energies are turned inward, and that causes any time that happens, now you're creating a lot more tension in yourself, and it can be the cause of some great discouragement and depression. Something you can do, and I don't know, it took me a while to get to this point, but you can kind of make it a little bit of a game, make it a joke, you know, like I posted just now. I think messing things up is my greatest skill, because I think it is, you know, and my kids know that. They know what I say, what's your dad good at? And they tell me, messing it up. That's right. Because here's the thing. I want them to understand that everybody messes things up and it's okay. If I'm really concerned about my own screw ups, then I'm not really giving them the freedom to screw things up and learn from it either. Because what I'm showing by my actions is that screwing something up is a really, really big deal. So now they can't feel as free and relaxed because they might, that like we transfer that feeling to the other people around us. And so if I'm all concerned about my screw ups, then I'm not allowing them the freedom to screw things up. They're going to start thinking inwardly too. They're going to start being really self-conscious and worried about if they're going to screw something up. And I want them to understand you're going to screw stuff up and it's okay, because that's how you learn. You learn by screwing things up and fixing it. And I know our schools are terrible. They got it backwards in this regard. There's a lot of good things at school, but in this regard, the whole system that we learn in school is basically study, 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 take the test. Learn, 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 study, 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 take the test. In real life, you get the test.
And then you study afterwards.
And then you learn. You get the test, you fail it, and then you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get another test and you fail it and then you learn. And then, but the lessons continue until you learn the lessons. So if there's something you need to learn, you're going to continue getting that lesson again and again and again. You're going to get that test again and again and again until you figure out how to handle it. But that's one of the things. I have a couple key things that I really am bummed out that I got programmed in school. And that's the biggest one, that mistakes, that I got punished for making mistakes, and that they flipped that whole thing backwards. And like you had all this time to learn something and learn something and learn something, and then the test came at the end. When in real life, you just get the test right away, and then you try and fail. You make the mistake, which was the big bad thing to do, but it's inevitable in the real world because you don't have any time to prepare. You just all of a sudden, here you are. Like I talked earlier about having to deal with that irate homeowner that chased me in the car and all that kind of craziness. I would have never been able to handle that with a clear head on my first day doing inspections, if it was my first time dealing with that.
Can you imagine your first day that happens to you?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
The only reason that I handled that in a way that I didn't get high blood pressure and a heart attack and like freak out and have a big problem was because I dealt with situations like that and I'd failed at them. None of them were necessarily that severe. Most of the time they're not that severe. Most of the time it's just somebody yelling and you just, you got to handle it. But because that happened enough times, I got to learn how to handle it through trial and error, through getting faced with that test, failing it, and thinking, oh, I need to make an adjustment here. And then let's try this next time. And so then I think, okay, next time I'm going to try this. And so then it would happen again. And I would try my new approach, and that didn't work. And so then I'd have to, well, okay, let's try a different approach. And then it happened again. And then I'd try a new approach. And then finally now it gets crazy. And most of it's just your demeanor. But I had this person come out and scream at me from their door the other day. They yelled at me and swearing at me. And I'm like, I'm just doing a mortgage inspection. And they go, okay, and walk back in the house.
Awesome.
Like, but it took time and time again of failing and trying again and failing and trying again and failing and trying again. And that might be what you have to go through here. Probably not. And it's lucky. Here's the cool thing. You have somebody there that is your really good friend that's willing to forgive you, willing to have the grace with you while you go through that process of learning and screwing things up. And if you surround if you kind of make light of your screwing it up, kind of make it a joke. And then when you screw up, you could be like, well, Are you surprised? Really? I mean, what am I the best at? I'm best at messing things up, you know? Hey, big surprise. I messed something up. Let's figure out a better way to do it. You know? So I messed it up. Okay. How could I do this better? Let's turn it into a learning experience. And then from there, we all grow together, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well said. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that was helpful. Do you have anything else to put at the end of that, Ryan?
And no, I mean that totally covered it. I think, you know, you gotta, I think you gotta kind of take life not so seriously. And the best way to take life a lot less seriously is to kind of give away from focusing on yourself. The more you can just stop thinking about yourself so much, and I don't mean to insult anybody who does. That's just who we naturally are as human beings. But the farther we get away from putting all the attention to ourselves, the easier life just goes. Because what happens when we're constantly focusing on ourselves is whenever something goes wrong, we hate ourselves like 10 times more than we need to. And whenever we mess something up, we start hurting ourselves inside, you know? So if you know, and especially in a relationship, you know, what's the point of the relationship? Is it about you or is it about them? Because if it's about you, then it's really just you taking advantage of them. I mean, kinda. I mean, it is about you a little bit. You have to do your part, and you better hope that they are treating you kindly. If they're not, then yeah, you have to take care of yourself and get away from people who are not treating you right. But if they're treating you right, then your focus should be on them, not on yourself. So instead of worrying about them leaving you, because that's a thought that is really inward and being worried about yourself being lonely, right? So instead of worrying about them leaving you, you need to just focus on how can I help them? How can I be a servant to them? What can I do for them? Make sure that they know I'll never leave them. You know, that's your focus. You should try to make your focus a little bit more about them, and don't worry about yourself so much, because they're going to treat you however they're going to treat you. All you can do is do your best.
Yeah.
Right. And they seem like a pretty good person. If they're willing to forgive you for your mistake, then you really don't have a whole lot to worry about.
Yeah. If you can get in the habit of radiating love, if you can just start to think in your mind, I love this person, I love this person, I love this person, and be thankful that they're in your life and love them. Like truly desire the best for them.
To love is to desire the best for another.
Yes, that's real love, is to desire the best for another person. And if you radiate that, if you feel that in your heart and keep that in the forefront of your mind, that this is how you feel, that will come out.
That's true.
That will come out. And that is such an attractive person to be around, someone that loves you and cares about you and wants the best for you. When you're around that person, they're so great to be around. Man, that's one of the reasons it's so great to be around Ryan. I mean, you guys are all here, and you know he loves every single one of you. That's why you keep coming back. What's that?
I love you. All right.
Yes, and things feel off from time to time. That's very true.
They do. You know,
the way
that happens in every single relationship, whether it be a friendship or any close relationship, you know, whether it be a friendship or a significant other, that happens from time to time, and that's okay. That's just part of the way things move. And when that happens, you just carry on. That's all you can do. Don't quit. That's the thing. That feeling is there, and it might make you quit. Don't. Because that's really the only thing that feeling can do for you. It'll make you either drive for success even more or decide to have failure. Do you want to quit? Because this is what you're experiencing, right? Do you want to just quit? You don't. So just keep on trying at it. And That's all you can do, and things will move forward. And then hopefully that feeling will fade off quickly. And if it doesn't fade off quickly, it will fade off in time, as long as you keep on driving the relationship forward and don't quit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is key number one. Don't quit. Don't give up on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Love them regardless. When you can love people regardless, that's real love. You want the best for them. You love them no matter what they do. You love them even though they hurt you. That's real love, because it's love. Love is not something we take. It's something we give. We receive it only because others give it. We don't get to take it or anything like that. But if that makes sense. And the more you give of love, the more love you feel. So don't be stingy with it. Even if it feels off, if deep down in your heart, you're still like, hey, I want the best for this person. I want this person's best life that they can have. I want to be the best I can be for them, and I want the best for them. And love them. And that's it.
Awesome. So cool. Hopefully that helps, Amira. You got it. You can take care of it. You just gotta keep at it,
Yep. And even though I know it hurts.
Yeah. It might feel weird, it might hurt, but you just gotta keep on moving along, and the relationship will fix itself. If you just love them. So you got this.
Yep. So yeah. You're awesome, Amira, and like Ryan said, you got this.
Cool. Would you like to carry on to the next one then?
Sure. Science is here, and that's the next one in order.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it then.
All right.
Hey, Science. How's it going, man? Nice to see you, by the way.
Science, you're awesome.
You are awesome. I love your sense of humor.
Yes. Do you want me to read this one? It's a little bit long.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, I will read it and you could start it.
How about just read it, then we can read it together.
At the same time? That would be really hard.
Terrible idea.
Yes. So this was posted by Science Rocks, and it was posted on our website. For those of you who don't know what the website is, where you can post stuff, you guys are finding it now. There's lots of people posting stuff there. But here it is again.
Replying to the topic, Science wrote. That's awesome.
Yeah, Kendra, thank you. That's awesome. Okay, so Science Rocks posts, quite frankly, I hate math with a passion. I cannot express in child-friendly words. To be more specific, I hate algebra. I've tried calculus in the past, and it just doesn't work either. But right now, I've just started an algebra class for like the third time, and quite frankly, I'm absolutely sick of it. It gives me nothing to work with and nothing to generate answers from, unlike statistics, which makes sense. This is probably the third time I've had to take this stupid class, and I'm already struggling with the very basics. Again.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I can relate.
Yes, absolutely. I've had so much trouble in the past that I've developed some kind of PTSD regarding this stuff. I'm already annoyed when I sit down, and I can stay calm for a while, but once I get the problem on paper, I have no idea where to go from there, and I basically have an emotional meltdown because I can never get a straight answer from anything on how to do it. No matter how many times I take it or have it explained to me, it just doesn't work. Yet it's required to get a job in the psychology field, because the domain of F on X equals you're crazy after all. He's got an equation in here. That's awesome. Science Rocks, you are awesome. I'm pretty sure that I can just go freelancer like you can with music, because oh, you can't just go freelance like you can with music because this field is regulated. Yes, the psychology field is regulated. Please, what should I do? I'm tired of trying and failing and being frustrated and stuck, but I have no choice unless I want to get a different job. This is the kind of thing that sends me into a spiral of depression, yet I'm forced to suffer through it.
All right. I get it.
I feel your pain, Science Rocks.
Mm-hmm.
I hate math too.
I used to hate math. All right. Hopefully this will help you. This is a quick story. I used to hate math, but now I actually like math to a degree. Here's why. I started doing programming. Okay. I was programming some very light programming, I should say. I wasn't doing like heavy, deep, crazy, hard programming, but I was doing some light programming. I was doing some scripting and programming, etc. And, I'm playing games, right? And so I'm programming for a game, and I realize I need to create calculations for the damage and the way that the damage should carry through and, damage over time or how things should carry out. I also have to calculate how much experience you should get from killing the monster. I have to calculate all these sorts of different factors, right? And so I was forced to have to create functions and create mathematical problems that would get the results that I wanted. And I found a lot of fun in that. And since then, I've actually enjoyed math. The difference was in school, I had to take math. I was given the problem and I had to solve it. Instead, I had something I wanted to solve. And I created the problem, the mathematical problem or the mathematical thing for it. So really, the thing I wanted to solve was the same problem. I had to solve the problem, but I was creating the math function for it. And I began to enjoy math. And I started doing math in the car. I started going, okay, well, how do I calculate these numbers? I have a really hard time with like division of 5 or division of anything. And so I thought about fives. And now, okay, so, I figured out functions in my head that can do easy multiplications of 5 or easy divisions of 5. Just by thinking about these processes in my head. And I began to like math because of that. Like, for example, an easy way to figure out if it's like, I can do, I don't know, like let's say 230 divided by 5. Well, 230 divided by 5 is 46. It's 46. How do I do that? 230 times 2 is 460. Move the 0 over, 46. It's that simple. Divided by 5 is just the same thing as times 2, and then you move the 0. And so things like that, when you start making stuff up on your own, it becomes fun. And then you have a different perspective. So it's all just a matter of perspective, right? It's all a matter of how your brain deals with the situation in front of you and whether you like it or not. But you can train yourself to like something, as weird as that is. Now, I understand if you're having problems with it for years, it can be very frustrating and very hard to ever decide you want to enjoy. I get it. But there's things in our life where we just have to say, there are opinions. There are opinions. But some opinions are wrong and some opinions are right. Because some opinions make life very hard and terrible. And some opinions make life beautiful and enjoyable. And sometimes we have to confront ourselves and say, this opinion I have, this perspective, like, because I totally get where you're coming from. It's not easy to say it's not easy to do what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying is sometimes you have to take yourself to the side and say, hey, look, buddy, you hate this. You don't have to hate it. It's just a thing. You don't have to hate it. And you can learn to like it. I know. How do you learn to like something that you absolutely hate?
That's the question of the decade right there.
That's hard. But I just gave you an example of how I did. So you're trying to do light programming. Any tips? Says Jack. one tip: beat your head against the wall until you figure it out. You'll love it. You'll love it. It's great.
I love beating my head on the wall.
That's my brother and me. We're doing programming, and my brother said, the only reason we can do this and other people can't is because we're willing to beat our heads against the wall until we bust through it. It's true. It's the only reason we figured out what was going on when we were programming, because we started from ground zero and we just opened up this programming and we're like looking at it and being like, whoa, this does what? Copy paste. What did that do? Copy paste this. What does that do? Let's delete all this stuff. Just sitting there and messing around with it can be fun. Mm-hmm. Here's something. When I took algebra, I used a TI-89. And that calculator, you just put in 7 times x equals 3. And then you say, what is x? And the calculator says, this is x. And I'm like, nice. It just did algebra for me. I didn't have to do anything. And it did like crazy problems too. Like, you could put in as many variables as you want and whatever, and it would solve it every time. And I would just write down the answer, because it was a whole lot easier than doing it on paper. But when I was forced to, if I sat down and thought about it for long enough, I could eventually come to the answer. Sometimes you have to just bear with it. Mm-hmm. And when you start making a little bit of a breakthrough, you feed your mind the chemical of enjoyment. And you take that and you say, this is it. Yeah. And you hold on to that feeling, and don't let it go. And use that as fuel to try and continue to learn. You said, I can do basic math. I ended up understanding statistics, of all things. Statistics was hard.
Yeah.
Which he would probably say is harder. I would.
Yes.
Algebra, whatever. They want me to make something from nothing. And I can't use a calculator because they want me to show my work. For whatever stupid reason. The entire bloody system is messed up and makes no sense. Dude, let me tell you something I did. Now, I don't know if you can get away with this, but I had to show my work too. So I just started writing down random stuff. I'm not kidding. I wrote down symbols that didn't exist and divided them across 100 times the answer or times the problem, and then just like did some obnoxious stuff. And I said equals, and I wrote down what was on my calculator. Equals the answer. And then I was like, turned it in, and they never corrected me. But that was in high school. In college, they don't really look at the problem, like what you're writing either, probably. But I don't think you should try to get away with cheating. It's not what I'm really suggesting. But it's hard. So they want you to show your work because they want to make sure you know it, right? But there's a lot of problems that you can do in your head that are hard to do on paper. Like I can do division in my head. I can't do division on paper. The reason I can't do division on paper is because my mind doesn't know the formula. It doesn't remember how to write it down and then carry the one and all of that weird stuff. I don't remember how to do it. But I can do division in my head because that makes sense, right? So I get it. It is a messed up system, and I'm not going to disagree. But you have to follow their rules, and that's just the way it is. So with algebra, I would say it's not creating something from nothing in particular. It's finding what is there when you can't see it. If you want another perspective, it's the same thing as solving a problem, except for, well, it's solving a problem, but one of the things you don't know, but you can find it if you do the detective work. If you do the work, you can find what that X is or whatever all the other letters are. But you got to do a little bit of work beforehand before you can do that. And then once you've got it, now you know. I'm not good at algebra, so you might want to find a tutor.
Mm.
A tutor can probably help you at least remember the functions and how to like go through it a lot easier. I would hope you find a tutor that's really patient and kind, because otherwise you're just on your own. And it's hard to reinvent the world or reinvent the wheel by yourself. You know, it's a lot better to learn from somebody else. If you've got a teacher and you say, hey, you're a teacher, are you willing to teach me? If not, then I failed. But if you're willing to teach me, can you teach me something? Because I'm really having problems with this. I want to do the algebra and I want to get it right, but I'm having trouble. So I understand it's hard. Some things are harder for some people than they are for others. That's just the way it is. But your mind is capable of it. And I know that's true. I think one of the main things you got to get past is just your unenjoyment with it. So if you can kind of pull yourself aside and say, hey, it's not helping you any to be mad at it. It's just numbers. So buck up and try to figure out how to enjoy it. Try to enjoy it. You know, I've had to do that a lot in my life because I've hated a lot of things, including people, but music genres, you know, Pokemon, just because I used to like them, they were popular, and then I was like, they're popular? Pokemon are stupid. And then I had to relearn how to like Pokemon. There were a lot of things I didn't like, okay? And I had to relearn how to like them. And the main thing I had to do is correct myself. When I noticed I was being a jerk or I didn't like something, I had to pull myself aside and say, hey, don't dislike that. Fix that. Like it. You know, just correcting myself. Did a lot. Functions f times x equals x plus h times x to the power of 2 divided by x to the power of 2 minus 4. Calculator can't solve that for me and show the work because it will skip right to the end. Yep, that's true. It will skip right to the end.
That's a pretty complicated problem.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. And it's one of those problems where you would have to take it step by step and it would be really hard to do in your head.
Yeah. I had a lot of trouble with functions too.
Yeah. You know what you could do? You know what you could do? Check this out. This is probably a decent idea. Maybe it's not. Take the problem to your teacher and say, can you do this problem? I'm going to record this on my phone. So use your phone, shake it to get that camera function open. I don't know, maybe you don't have Android. Whatever. Open up the camera for it and open up the camera, turn to video and record the paper and what they say and how they solve the problem by hand. Record that. And then do the same thing, but fill in the different numbers, see if you get the answer. Just copy them. Just copy the recording and then learn from it. That's probably that would help me. I know that's probably the best way I could help myself is if I saw it being done in person and recorded it and then played it back over and over, being able to watch it on my screen, how they were solving it on the paper. And I would just copy it. That would probably be the best way for me to learn. It would be, I think you should try that. Try that. Or if it's not your teacher, try somebody else that knows the answer. Ask them to do it.
Tutor or teacher's aide or something.
Yeah, teacher's aide, a friend in your class that seems to know how to do it. Use your phone, record them doing the problem and talking about it. Then learn from that video. I think that could help a lot. Please try that. I know it could be awkward to ask people to do that for you, but seriously, I don't know. That would probably be the best way for me to learn.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I didn't really like that section of math either. I don't think I did very good in it. But you have a chance to learn a few things here, I think, Science Rocks. And thank you for the question, by the way, because, I think a lot of us go through stuff like this. I do want to mention one thing, and this is something I learned way after I was out of every algebra class that I ever took, years later. Somebody told me why they have us learn that stuff. And I'm like, because that was part of my discouragement, was I would go to this class and I'm like, this is totally irrelevant. Why do I have to learn this nonsense? Because it does not make any sense for me to learn this stuff. It's not going to be useful for anything ever. You know, why am I doing this? And it's ridiculous. But the reason I think algebra exists is for one purpose only, and that is so you can get your mind wrapped around solving complicated problems. And it helps you develop patience with yourself in solving complicated problems. And you can do it in real life as well, where you've got, you know, something going on interpersonally and it's a really complicated thing. And it helps you to kind of think in terms, okay, we've got a complicated problem. We've got to take a little bit of time and break it down to its elements and get to the bottom of it. Then we can really solve it. So I think, you know, as far as I know, that's the reason why they would have you need to take algebra. Just to kind of help you learn problem solving, complicated problem solving. Now, I'm sure you probably won't use the equations in the psychology field, but if you're going into psychology, you're going to be helping people through very complicated problems, very complicated issues. And I know that there's a gentleman that I listen to from time to time. He's on the radio, Dr. David Anders. He has such a great way when someone throws a question at him, he'll break it down. He'll be like, oh, so what we have a couple of different questions here. And there's another guy, Jimmy Aiken. He's also very good at this too, where he'll be like, oh, so in your question, we've got like this many components, right? We've got this component, we've got this component, we've got this component. Okay, let me handle this one first. And then he just takes it step by step. And so he never gets derailed by someone's overly complicated question, because he looks at it a certain way where he's like, all right, I'm going to take it and I'm going to break it down and make it simple, you know, step by step, take it step by step. And that's a really useful skill to have when you're dealing with people, because we can have so many thoughts that just converge. I can remember when I was in therapy, my therapist would do this too. I would just tell him all this stuff that was going on. He's like, okay. And he'd never get freaked out about it. He'd never be like, oh man, that's really messed up. He'd just listen calmly, and he would be compassionate too. He would listen with his eyes compassionately and address my feelings in the matter. But then also he would take it and he would simplify the problems, all the stuff I just threw at him, and he'd break it down. And he'd say, oh, you've got this, and you've got this, and you got this. And when you look at them separately, they're not that big a deal. So you don't have to get all stressed out about this, because what you really have, you don't have one big complicated problem. What you have are like 4 or 5 simple problems, and you can start picking them off. You know, you just start with one and move on down the line. So that's one thing. The next thing, I think, one thing also they're going to try and teach you here is perseverance. You're going to get to learn that, because it sounds to me, you know, from your post, you've taken this for the 3rd time. You're tired of it. You're learning perseverance right now, because you're going through it again and you're frustrated and having issues. And this is perseverance, man. It's what, and if you're going to succeed in anything, it will require that perseverance. It will require that level of not giving up. And sometimes It will require the level of humility that you might be faced with in this event, where you might just have to go to your teacher, your professor, or a tutor or somebody and just lay it out and just totally humble yourself and be like, I don't get this at all. I am struggling so hard and I know I need to pass this. I really want to. I want to be good at this because I know I need to. But I am just having so much trouble. Please, can you help me? Like Ryan was just saying, sometimes you just got to throw it all down and just be like, I don't know what to do. I want to do it, but I'm really having trouble. Can you please help me? And I love Ryan's recommendation about, getting them to solve the problem while you can record them solving the problem. And then you can go back over it and over it and over it again. And I don't know if there are YouTube videos of people solving these kinds of problems. That might be something to look up too. Yeah. I don't know if somebody's actually done that. It's a possibility. But man, you might have to stick and stick and stick and then humble yourself and be like, I don't know what to do anymore, but I've tried this so many times and I just cannot seem to get it. Can you help me to get it? And yeah, so you're learning that stuff. And then one more thing that you're going to get the chance to learn here, if you choose to do it. This might be the hardest one of all, is to take something you hate to do and make it fun. You're going to be successful in something. You're going to have that perseverance. You're going to have to be able to take a complex problem and break it down to something simple. And you're going to have to take the thing you really don't want to do, but you have to do, and somehow make it fun. So you want to do the thing you have to do, but you don't want to do, but you got to do it anyway. So you might as well try and have fun while you do it, because then it's going to make the whole road so much smoother. So as hard as it is, and I think like Ryan was talking about, it's all up here in your head. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of, I hate this. What's that?
As I always got to be like, attitude check.
Yep.
Whenever you don't like something, or you feel yourself being kind of not so happy or being crabby or something, you just got to be like, attitude check. Smile. I hate this. This is great. I love it.
Yeah, man. I love this type of punishment. This is awesome. It's like after you've been exercising for a while.
While I do this. Oh yeah, I've got that power. Watch me while I work.
Watch me have a blast do this thing I can't stand.
Yeah, you watch me do this terrible thing. I'll show you how I can smile while I write this down. Oh yeah, what's 5 times 4? Dang straight, it's that number. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. It's 20. So like, dude, I got this. You got to have that attitude.
Yep. So if you can take that thing you hate and turn it into something fun and remind yourself, this is fun. I'm going through a course right now, a business course, where he's like, these are going to be things that you don't really want to do. These are things that you probably don't have a passion for doing, or else you'd already be doing it. So when you look at this stack of things that you're going to have to do, it's not going to look like it's fun. But let me tell you, it is fun. You just got to make it fun. You got to do something to make what you're doing fun and be like, oh man. And so here's the thing. You're looking forward to going into psychology. This is a barrier in your way. And you're going to find a way around it, through it, over it, under it, however you're going to get past it to get there.
Cooking is fun.
Cooking is fun.
That's true.
It totally is fun. Yes. But if you can take this thing that's not any fun for you and make it fun, you absolutely win. You will have the perseverance. And you'll be able to just take this and instead of being frustrated, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, you want me to figure that out? Somebody's going to have to help me with this thing. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. When you posted that function up here, up in the chat, I'm like,
yeah, like
I am not going to be able to figure that out. I would need somebody to help me so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, I'm always pessimistic when I'm upset too. That's all right. We get upset, and then but that's part of our training. As we were going through the Mira, these are things we learn through this type of process where we act a certain way. We realize that it's not the correct way to act. We learn from it, make an adjustment, and move forward. And you totally can do it, Science Rocks. You're absolutely amazing, and you can make it through this. But it's going to take some help. You're going to need some help, it sounds like, and that's totally fine. And just, be humorous with them. One of the things I always felt like I'd be embarrassed, like, because I'd feel stupid, And Ryan pointed something out to me one time because I remember pointing out, because I'm so good at pointing out the errors of others, you realize from other interactions.
It can be a good thing.
I remember listening to one of Ryan's songs that he had posted, and I was like, oh man, dude, it sounds awesome. There's just these couple little spots where it sounds like it was a little overly compressed in these little spots. You remember this, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
You remember this conversation?
Yeah.
And Ryan said the most profoundly wise thing I've heard. I've heard a lot of wisdom, and this is one of the top wise statements.
I said, so this is great. Must have been terrible.
Oh, it was awesome.
Great.
Ryan told me, he said, yeah, and I'm going to leave it that way because I want to be able to make another person feel good about themselves for pointing out my mistake.
That's right. That's right.
You remember that? That was so genius. I'm like, that's great and you can do the same thing. If you just go up there and be like, dude, I'm a total idiot. You're going to give another person the opportunity to feel really smart.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great gift that you can give somebody.
Absolutely.
By being like, you know what? I am the worst person in this class, and I really don't get this. I need as much help as I can get from whoever would be willing to help me. Just so you know, when it comes to this stuff, I'm a moron. Or something. But then what happens is you give that person the chance to feel smart and to feel important and to feel helpful and to feel like they contributed. That's an incredible gift you can give somebody. So those are the things that I would take from your post here, and it was a great post. I love reading your posts and your topics. You're great. So
yeah, no, it's so true too. Though you give someone else the chance to look smart. It's awesome because you can go up and be like, "Hey, look, you're smart. Can you help me with this?" Just say that to somebody. They will turn around in an instant and help you. Even if they will be like, hold on, I have a meeting to go to, but I'm going to drop that because I'm going to help you. I'm not kidding. People will bend over backwards if you just approach them and say, hey, you're smart. Can you help me with this? I'm not kidding. That line. Okay, I'm not saying everybody will respond to that perfectly. Some people might, everyone's different. Some people will just walk off and be like,
you're right. I am smart.
Yeah,
I can't be seen with the likes of you.
Some people are just rude, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Anyways,
that's their own fault, and you know that in psychology.
Right. You know that in psychology. And another thing is I know that psychology isn't exactly math. However, you're going to get patients where you're going to have to do algebra on them. They're going to give you the problem and the answer. They're going to give you like, hey, I've got this, like I've got depression and here's why. And they're going to tell you all this stuff. And inside of all that stuff, you're going to be like, hold on, I've got like X's and F's and random letters in here. I need to solve before I can actually even get to what you're talking about. Like, please tell me more about this. Please tell me more about that. Or based on the fact that they have depression, that's probably why they did that. So that lines up with this. And then that, okay, so this goes around in a circle and becomes, okay, I figure it out. I see what you're going through. So you're going to have to do that kind of stuff. And it's not going to feel like algebra because algebra is just numbers. Don't be bad at the numbers, man. They're just numbers. They don't get to control themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, you're going to have to do something similar to algebra when you're doing psychology, which if that helps you take any more pride in doing algebra, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. I tried. But yeah, you got to just have an attitude. Do an attitude check when you're doing math and you start getting upset. Do a quick attitude check and be like, no, you got to switch off that upset and just smile and get through this and try to enjoy it. Thing is, I've already got there. I've gotten to help people, albeit not professionally. Got it. Yep. So the only thing holding me back is this stupid class. Yep. Yeah. Yep. But as Joe said, it's that one barrier. It's that barrier that stands between you and what you want to do. What are you going to do about it? I mean, just like I told Mira earlier, what are you going to do about it? You're going to quit? Heck no, you're not.
You can either quit or you can bust through.
Yeah. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I recommend busting through. No matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes, no matter how, the feeling you're going to have when you finally get through that, you're going to feel like such a champion.
Yeah. You'll be like, you're going to be like, guys, you have no idea what I went through to get here. So tell me anything. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I went through algebra, which is really hard.
Yeah. And then people are going to be like, oh, you're just a psychologist, dime a dozen psychologists. You'll be in the back of your mind, you'll be like, you know what I went through to get to this point?
I'll tear you apart.
You wouldn't even go through half of what I went through to get to this point. Like, you're a big wimp.
Yeah, there you go. But just the way life is, man. You can do it. I mean, you've got the smarts. You just got to learn what you got to learn. You just got to go through the steps, learn what you need, and then get it done. Yes.
Well put, Amira. Dear math, go buy yourself a calculator and solve your own problems.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yep. And Princess, that is some great insight there. If you have to, just tell the professor, I'm bad at this. I just want to pass your class. Can you help me? You just lay it on the line.
Yeah.
Just lay it out. Just be totally real like that. Just be like, hey, I want to get through this class. I'm really bad at it. Can you please help me or point me in the direction of where I could get some help? The professor would probably know of the resources you would need. If they can't personally help you, they could point you in the right direction. And if not, they're not a good professor. But
yeah, and that stinks. Then you just have to ask a student.
Science Rock says, I pride myself on being smart, so that's really hard. Yes.
Yeah, so that's a hard place to be because I've been there before too. And you know what? I'm sure you've heard this before. The more you learn, the more you realize you're not very smart. Or rather, the more you learn, the more you realize the more you don't know, and I used to it's more fun to be like, I'm an idiot and I know nothing than it is to be like, I'm smart and I know everything. It's a lot more fun to just be like, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. It is. Life is a lot more enjoyable when you're just like, I have no idea what's going on.
It is, but it's not easy to get to that point because you got to swallow your pride. You got to really humble yourself. So, but Ryan is absolutely right. When you finally let go, it's so much more fun.
I do that. Yeah.
I had to do that in this business course. I'm in a group It's an online course, and I'm in this group with all these marketing geniuses, and I know absolutely nothing. And I'm like watching all these people post all this amazingly great stuff and their everything, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I just had to finally get to that point where I'm like, you know what? If I look stupid, I'll take Ryan's advice and help somebody else feel good about themselves, that they're smarter than me. I made it a goal. I'm going to make the person who feels like the least smart in this course, I'm going to make them feel like they're not the least smart, because at least they're better than me.
Perfect. But yeah, how did you get yourself from, that's a good question. How did you get yourself from being prideful over your intelligence? Because you are smart. How did you get yourself from point A to point B in this, Joe?
Me?
Yeah.
In what?
Because I think we both, or probably almost all of us, have been in that position where we pride ourselves in our intelligence, how smart we are. And we know, because again, we know we're smart because we have learned a lot through our lives. Not saying that we're smarter than other people, but just knowing, like, I went through life and I learned a lot of stuff, So, I mean, I'm sure you have gone through this, and you've gone from, being prideful of your intelligence or being prideful of your smartness and knowing the answers to stuff. How do you go from that to the other side where you're not being prideful? How do you remove yourself from the pride, but still acknowledge your own intelligence?
Well, I had to go through a lot of pain in order to get to that point where I could do that. It took me a long time to break through the barrier of my own pride. And when I realized that's what it was, and that the answer, pride, is one of the top deadly sins on the list. An unhealthy pride, it can destroy you. It can absolutely destroy you. And the virtue that conquers pride is humility. And I'm going to quote Mother Teresa. Everybody loves Mother Teresa. The best way to humility is through humiliation.
Yeah, true.
But that sucks.
It does.
Excuse my strong language. Humility is hard because humiliation is the fastest way to humility. So I had to be humiliated. There were times where I was prideful. I had to get knocked down. I had to completely fail. I had to get to the point where I felt like a complete and utter failure, and then accept it. And be like, this is where I am right now. Okay. Well, the coolest part is when you're at the bottom, there's no other direction to go but up. I know, right? That's kind of cheesy, corny, but but yeah, I think I had to get to that point where I had been through enough pain where finally I was able to just, I am not anything special. I'm a big sack of dirt, whatever. And then when you get to that point of just, you're laid out, you've been through, you're tired, you've tried and tried and tried, and you failed and failed and failed, and then finally you're just at that point, it's like, I don't know what to try anymore. When you get there, something switches. There's something in your brain. At least this worked for me. This happened for me, and I know a lot of other people this happened for. They went through all this struggle and they went through all this pain, and they finally got to the point where, like, I got nothing. Something switches in your brain, and you're a lot more playful. You don't take yourself quite so seriously. It's like all the puff the fluffy puff that you puffed yourself up with your pride all gets shaved off of you.
It deflates.
Yep, you just rip down to nothing.
Shave it. It's weird.
And
Apply the sound effects.
then you just, you're like, hey, whatever. If I need to learn something, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to just ask. I'm going to ask somebody smarter than me, because apparently everybody's smarter than me. So you get to that point. So I don't know. That's that's what I had to go through to get to that point, to change that. So how about you? What
For me, it's actually different. I think I've been in that position you're talking about for different things. But for me, when it comes to this, it was slightly different. For me, it was, I had pride, and I noticed whenever I was wrong about something, it would just tear me apart. I noticed that whenever someone else was right over me, like, man, the thing I wanted to do was like just argue to the end of the world with them that I was right, even if I knew I was wrong, or just punch him in the face or something, like it felt terrible.
Uh-huh.
And I remember realizing, wow, that's really not helping me. And then I just was like, okay, let's do the exact opposite. Let's try it. Let's try doing the exact opposite. And that started working for me. It wasn't just it was just pride of anything. When I started to whenever I had like a feeling where it's like, I went through this and then I got shut down, and it's like, it's just not working for me. It just doesn't feel right. I took the opportunity to just say, wait, why don't I try the opposite then? Why don't I try to take this as an opportunity to say, yeah, you were right and I was wrong. Oh, you, man, you're awesome. No, okay, don't say it facetiously. That sounded facetious. I meant it truthfully. Someone else was right and I was wrong. I was like, what if I took that moment and said, let's celebrate their smartness and see how I feel about it after I do that. And so I did. And you know what happened? I let go of it. I didn't feel like, man, you got it right and I got it wrong. I didn't feel that. Suddenly I just felt like, that was really cool. I just made them feel good. And now I feel good. This is awesome. So for me, it was just realizing what I was doing, realizing it wasn't helping me, and then just doing the opposite, trying to focus on making other people feel smart.
Yeah.
And letting go of the idea that I have to care about whether I'm right or wrong. Because as soon as I let go of having that desire of being right or wrong about things that don't really matter, like, yeah, it's good to be right when it comes to morals, right? That's obvious. It's good to be right when it comes to, this is true, this is false. Sure. But we don't know everything. And when we're wrong about something, it's so much more just relieving when we take that opportunity to say, oh, I was wrong. Well, what if I just start doing the right thing then? It just changed everything. Like, Joe is an incredible example of this. And incredible example of this, of noticing when you have something that's not correct and saying, well, what do I do now? Well, I guess I'll just change what I've done and change my path. When you have yourself a path, like even in religion, and you start to notice things about the religion and say, wait a minute, maybe this is wrong. Instead of be like, no, that can't be wrong, holding on to it and being like, getting aggressive, you make the switch and just like, you know what? Well, let's just do what's right then. And it's like, wow, dude, that's incredible, because everybody else I know would have just died 12 times before they switched their thoughts about that subject, and that's really awesome way to just let pride not destroy you. It's good to have pride in yourself in the sense of I'm valuable and my thoughts matter and I can do a lot of stuff. I can do a lot of good for this world. That stuff's great. But when pride gets in the way, when it changes your attitude for the worst, when those things happen, then you got to let it go. And you got to be like, no, that's not good for me. I just need to change. I just need to change it and then be on the right path. But anyhow, yeah. There it is.
Science, thank you so much for that topic. That was so great.
Yeah.
It was so great to go through. There was a lot of stuff in there to talk about.
Science is when science comments says, what are they talking about? We're talking about the chat.
Talking about your topic, man.
You know what? That's all right, dude. Thanks for giving us the chance to talk. It's awesome.
Yep. So yeah. So we got time for another one.
Yep. Princess, are you trying to push us on to the next question? Was that what that was?
She is. She's
you guys are talking about something that I have no interest in for too long. About something that I like.
No, Princess is trying to keep us on track because I
know. She's trying to keep us on track.
She's awesome. Everybody say thank you to Princess, please, because she takes your questions and makes sure they make it onto the website.
Thank you to Princess, please, because she takes your questions and makes sure it makes it onto the website. Did I say that right? Is that what you said?
I don't know. I don't remember what I said. I just said it.
All right.
I'd have to go back and re-listen to what I said in order to remember that. Yeah, so we've got kind of a line of questions here. So guys, thank you so much for all the questions. And if we don't get to yours today, we will be back on Wednesday. And we will get through some more of these. So please come back so we can talk about them.
All right. So next in line would be Akil.
Okay.
So what do you say?
Okay.
Unless you have an objection.
I have no objection to anything, really.
Okay, cool. So this is by Akil. It's called Ashes. This is, again, it's by Akil, so you know this is going to be poetic. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be well thought out. It's quite lengthy.
Akil objects.
Akil, you object.
What do you object to, Akil?
I think he's objecting to doing his topic.
Your Honor, hold it right there.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
Well, I mean, if you want us to do somebody else, we can. I mean, that's fine. I'm not gonna argue with you, Akil. You're always right. So.
I mean, one thing that you know, Akil, you always put these so well. I love your posts.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Okay, so do you want to do? Wait. You want to do Haley's then? Haley is here.
Let's see. Akil, we are gonna get to yours at some point, just so you know.
Yeah.
So we've got of people that we haven't done in a while. We have Repicharge, we have Haley, and Video GC.
So is Repicharge here or Video GC? Either of them. If you are, please write in the chat. If you can figure out how to spell that, that'd be great. I would really appreciate it because I've been wondering for a long time. Video GC is here. Awesome.
There, is that right?
Mm,
Blah, 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 blah. Wow.
that's I mean, that's closer than I was just gonna be like that. So
That's totally not it.
oh, sorry. That was the wrong. That was the wrong letter. I meant this letter. Letter 3.
The letter 3.
Over and over sounds like whatever I said. I can't remember. Wow. Error. Akil, why are you so this? Akil is just a loving kind of guy. He's awesome. Cool. Let's do video GC.
Okay.
Asking her out. Her birthday's coming up. Awesome. All right, I'll read it and then you can take the question. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. There's this girl I've known for a long time, and we're close, but I've had a huge crush on her for a while. Her birthday is coming up soon, and I wanted to ask her out, but I don't have the courage. Any advice?
Yes. Good question, Video GC. Thank you for posting.
Wow. Yep, that's it, science.
Magician Jester, you are not invisible today.
That's right. Hi, Magician Jester.
Yep. He asked you how you get yourself motivated, Ryan.
Oh. To do what?
That's a good yes.
Well, okay.
But in the meantime,
we'll have to talk about it in a bit.
Yes. So Video GC. So you've known her for a long time and you're close. You've had a huge crush on her for a while. Her birthday's coming up soon. I want to ask her out, but I don't have the courage. Well, her birthday's coming up. So you could get her a gift. Here's one thing. I mean, you can, I used to play these angles like this, where I'd be like, try and be all clever, and try and be sneaky and clever and do something and use all these things to my advantage. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I'm just a little bit more straightforward now. So I understand not having the courage. Oh, okay. For context, I've made her a picture and I bought her a game I know she really wants, but I don't know where to go from here. So have you given them to her, or did you just buy those in preparation for her birthday? That would be the next question. But as far as having courage, that's not always an easy thing to have, and it's not always easy to build it, because sometimes in order to have courage, you have to do things courageously in order to build that up. You have to start with something small, courageous that you can do. Preparation, it's in a few days, still got to wrap them. Okay, good. So you have a gift that you can give her, and she can be like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. And in that, sometimes you might be able to take the elation of the moment where you give the gift, and that might be a great time to say, hey, do you want to go out sometime? Maybe. Now, I don't know this person. I don't know your guys' relationship, your connection. You say you're close, but you could say, hey, do you want to go do something sometime? And that might be a doorway in. It's totally possible. Here's the thing. When I'm faced with something that's going to take a great deal of courage, I know I've talked about this before, but I haven't talked about it in a while. So what I like to do is ask myself, what's the absolute worst thing that's going to happen here? I want to ask this girl out. I want to do this thing. And I don't feel like I'm brave enough to do it. Well, the question first, you can ask yourself, why? Why am I afraid? you know, because what's the absolute worst thing that's going to happen? And probably if you're close friends with this girl, the worst thing that's going to happen is she's going to probably say, if she doesn't want to go out with you, she'll just say no, and then you can laugh it off and you can continue being friends. And then at least hey, that's done. That's sometimes a hard thing to come to grips with. I don't think she's gonna make fun of you and not be your friend anymore. I don't. If you've got a pretty close relationship, I don't think it could go that far. But sometimes I would get to the point where I would list off the things that are the worst that could happen, and then I'd be like, oh, that's actually not the worst thing that could happen. This thing this is actually worse, you know. And then I'd kind of keep going back and back and back until, well, what's the worst that could happen? The world could explode and we could all die.
Yeah, she randomly pulls out a knife, and then when she goes to stab you, for some reason, a fire truck runs by inside the building, and then all of a sudden, which is weird, it shouldn't happen, but all of a sudden, the sun just stops, and then we all freeze over.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
So, but take the worst thing that could possibly happen and then come to grips with it. If you ask her out, you're afraid of your relationship changing, but it hurts to stay the way that you are right now. Yes, I understand that. So there is fear of you've pinpointed something very, very important, and that's the fear of success. You're afraid of your relationship changing. If you ask her out and she says yes, and you develop into a dating relationship, your relationship's going to change. So you succeeding is something that is fearful. And that's a big hurdle for a lot of people who are trying to break through a barrier to get to success in anything, is they're afraid of their own success. They're afraid that it might change the situation they're in. They might have to adapt to a whole new situation. So they're afraid of actually winning at the thing they're trying to do. And that is, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that's kind of the hidden fear for a lot of us. We're not necessarily afraid of failure as much as we are afraid of succeeding in a lot of cases. So I'm glad you brought that up. But if you can, like, one of the things that always brought me comfort is being able to think of the worst possible scenario. If I do this, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And then I think to myself, all right, once I have that pinpointed, this is the worst thing that could happen in this situation. Now I accept that and I come to grips with that, and I ask myself, what will I do if that happens? So let's say that happens. What am I going to do in response to that? What will I do if that happens? So the worst, maybe in this situation, she laughs at you. She says she never wants to be your friend anymore. She throws your present back at you, and then laughs and goes off, and then she stands in the corner laughing with her friends or something. I don't know. Maybe that. But whatever that is that you can think of, the worst thing reasonably, obviously having a fire truck drive through the school, and that's probably not realistic. So don't go too crazy here.
Fire trucks are scary.
Yes, they're big and they're scary.
Red.
And when they shoot their water hoses at you, it hurts.
Oh yeah. Give you burns.
Yeah, burns from the water,
which is weird.
Yeah, so if you can come to grips with that worst thing and say and figure out your plan of action for what you'll do if that happens, now you're prepared for the worst possible scenario. Mm-hmm. And when you're prepared, you're no longer as afraid, because you have it all planned out what you're going to do. And what I find is it's a lot easier to adjust up from there, because now that you figured out the worst thing that could possibly happen and come to grips with it and say, all right, what will I do if that happens? Now it's easy to go up and say, okay, well, what's a little bit better than that? What's a little bit better than that? What's a little bit better than that? And you can handle better than the worst, which you're already prepared for. So then you can go into the situation with a lot less fear. I won't say that the fear is totally gone, because you probably still will have that nervousness. You know, we all get those butterflies in the stomach. That's just adrenaline. I would encourage you to learn how to enjoy that little adrenaline rush that you get. It's like, ooh, it's that excitement. It's like, ooh, it's preparing you for something exciting. So do that and then adjust up from there. So Ryan, what do you have besides fire trucks?
Thanks. So I've got fire trucks. No. Yeah, that was really good. Honestly, I mean, I've said this before, but here's the thing. Whether you ask now or you ask later, it's not going to change her feelings about you. So if you're in a position where you're like, I got to just wait. I just got to wait longer. I just got to wait longer. Don't make yourself wait. Because her emotions, if she starts to like you more later, cool. She'll let you know. Even I've seen people who have been turned down, and then later the person who turned them down will ask them out. And so like that happens, right? I know a guy. His name is Joe.
Yeah.
He's right on the stream with us, right there. You know, if so don't play the waiting game. Like, I just have to wait longer, or, you know, whatever. The waiting game is not going to help you. Either she likes you now or she doesn't. Maybe she'll like you later. But that's asking her now is not going to change either of those things. So just don't hesitate too much. Here's the thing. Also, you ever watch a movie and you're like, just ask her out or just say the thing or whatever, you know? That's you. It's a lot easier when you think of somebody else, right? And you're like, dude, just do it, right? Well, then be the guy that just does it. Be that guy. Be the guy that has this courage and strength inside to do it. Because just like Joe said, you need courage, but courage is obtained by doing acts of courage. It's a virtue that is formed by habit. And that habit is when you go out of your way to do something you normally would be afraid to do. And then when you do that thing you're afraid of, next time you encounter a fear, it's a lot easier to just get over it. And then the next time you come to a fear, it's even easier to just say, no, let's just do it. I'm afraid of it. Let's do it. You know? So that's courage. And you have to build that up. And you build it up by taking these acts. And you know what? Here's the thing. Maybe it turns out awesome and she says yes. Maybe it turns out awesome. Maybe even more awesome. And she says no. So, and you're like, what? How's that more awesome? Well, here's the thing. Got to ask yourself, what is love, 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 baby, don't hurt me. Okay, now, what is love, right? You got to ask yourself, what is love? Why am I doing this? Because here's the thing. Right now, you might be doing this for you because you have these feelings. But you want to know if she has these feelings. So you can have a relationship with each other. And you can, you know, be even closer and build each other up. That's awesome. You should ask her out. But remember, love isn't always about you. Love is wanting the best for another person. Love is desiring the best for another person. You want the very best for them. And you're willing to go out of your way to help them get that best, whatever that best thing is. I don't mean just like the best objects. I'm just talking about you want them to become the best person they can be. And you want to go out of your way to help them become that best person they can be. That's love. And that's beautiful. And so even if they say no, you still have that opportunity. You still have the opportunity to go out of your way for that person, to build them up, to help them become an incredible person by being an incredible person yourself. Right? So sometimes, even if things don't work out, that doesn't mean things went wrong. It could be that things went even more correctly and the path is just different than you thought. Sometimes we want something and we can't get it. And so we just don't have it. but we keep on trying and eventually we get it. And then we look back in the past and say, wow, I'm glad I didn't get it when I tried the first time, because I grew so much through all the pain and lessons I've had to go through along the way to get where I am now. You know, like even, I mean, people who get money, whatever, if you're like, man, I just want to have money so I can buy things. But then you look in your past and you're like, you continue through your life and then you get some money, and some people take that money and they squander it. They just take the money and they throw it away on useless things that don't help anybody become a better person. They don't help themselves. They use that money and they destroy themselves with it. But some people, because of what problems and lessons and trials and failures and successes and pains and suffering and all of that they had along the way, they get the money and they're like doing amazing things with it. They're building up their business that employs thousands of people to help them. And then they take that money and they give it away to charity, or they take that money and they invest it in something that will help thousands of more people. They create a product that'll maybe revolutionize the way food is done so more people can have food in the world. Things like that, right? You can use your money to do awesome things, and you can use your money to do terrible things. And it's the same thing with a relationship. You can use your relationship to do beautiful, beautiful things. But you can also use a relationship to do terrible things and not even know that you are doing it. It's true. There are many, many bad things I did to people without realizing I was doing bad things.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah. I don't even remember them. See, that's how focused I was on it. No, but that's just the way it is. And so if they say no, that's okay. You can still love them. And that's all you wanted to do in the first place, was love them, right? It's not about them accepting you. Because if that's the whole point, right? If that's all you want is for them to love you back, if that's why you're asking, then I don't think it is. But if that's why you're asking, anybody who wants just that, that's really shallow. And it's not going to help anybody. It's not going to build a beautiful relationship. But somebody who wants to really just celebrate that person's existence, and they ask them, hey, will you go out with me? And they get turned down. Sweet. You better have that attitude where you're like, cool, because you know what? I can still do the things I was doing before. And now I know we're not going to have a relationship, but that's fine. And I don't have that holding me back. Now I can just love on you. Right? And maybe, again, someday down the road, she could say yes. Or maybe she might just say yes right away when you ask. I can't tell you, but either way, remember, the most important thing is that you love the person and you act that love out by how you act around them and by how you even act to yourself, how you treat yourself. Are you trying to be the best person you can be for them? That's important, because if you really love somebody, then you got to give them the best. And you can't give them the best if you're giving yourself terrible things, right? If you're mistreating yourself, if you're beating yourself up, if you're not trying to grow inside, if you're not trying to become a better person, then what kind of stuff are you giving them? Who are you to be a part of their life? You know? Well, if you're not, that's okay. Just start trying to work on yourself, you know? If you haven't, if you're in a position right now in life, who I'm not necessarily saying this to the person who asked the question, because I don't know anything about them, but to anybody who's listening, if you're in a position where your relationship with yourself isn't quite right, but you're still interacting with other people, make sure you take some time out of your day to make your relationship with yourself a little bit better. Treat yourself nicely, because how you treat yourself is what you give to other people when you're around them, because you're giving them yourself. And so you got to build yourself up inside so that when you give the gift of yourself to other people, they receive something that's fermented in good good, solid virtues, that they receive someone who really does have love. They receive someone, in gift when you act towards them, right? When you're around them and you're just being yourself, who is that person? Make sure that's the best person. Make sure that's the best person you can be. And you can only do that if you're rooting for yourself. That's why it's important to love yourself. So anyhow, that's a lot of random stuff, but main thing, you gotta love them, regardless of whether they accept it or not, whether they say, yeah. But here's the thing, that makes it a lot easier on you, because now it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. You can still do the number one thing. Now you just have to ask and say, hey, will you go out with me? If not, cool. If yeah, awesome. I'd love that. But if not, you know what? We're still friends. And I don't, I like you just the same. We're great. We're friends. So it's cool. Just lay it out there. Just ask the question. Yeah, I understand it can be you can get really nervous. It's hard. Just like Joe said. But you can do it. And I hope some of that helps.
I love what you said there, Ryan, about making yourself a gift to others, making yourself a gift to this other person. So you make of yourself a gift. That honestly is one of the most fulfilling things you can do. That's a beautiful thing. If you can make yourself a gift to another person, that is so beautiful, and it will fulfill you in ways that you can't even imagine. So yeah, go back and listen to what Ryan said a few times, because there was a lot there, but it was super, super full of wisdom.
And Joe too. Make sure you listen to Joe's part first.
I don't know about that.
And then listen to my part.
You can listen to the noise that came before Ryan.
That noise was amazing. Did you hear the noise? It sounded just like Joe saying great things.
Yes. So at any rate, Video GC, thank you so much. Hopefully that was helpful for you. Thank you for posting, and hopefully that helps move you in that direction. But you should totally do it. You should totally try it. You should totally have the courage, even if it's just to create the habit of having the courage.
Take courage. It's funny because that's the line people used to say. People don't say that very often anymore, but people used to say, take courage. You know why? Because courage is already in you. You just have to take it and use it. We're all capable of courage. We just have to act on it. So you got this. You can do it, man. You got it, Video GC. And Kendra, I'm 22 and don't look like it as well. Whoa. Except that's probably the other direction. I'm 22 too. I'm 22 too. It's funny. I used to tell people I was 29 no matter how old I got. I just would tell people I'm 29. Even when he was like in 5th grade. I'll never forget one time I was working this job and I was ringing somebody up at a cash register, and they're like, somehow we were just chatting, whatever. And they asked me how old I was. And I said I was 29, and they looked at me. And I was like, okay, that was probably not going to work anymore. They're like, you've had a rough time if you're 29. Oh, you can be like, oh my gosh, you are a mean person. You mean person, you. Get out of here. I'm 29. That was mean. No, you're right. You're right. I'm not 29. I was not 29. I was not 29 at the time. So that's awesome. But wow, thank you guys so much. That was a quick moving couple hours. Yeah. Man, thanks, man. Everybody. Yeah, no kidding. We've got a whole bunch of stuff for next time too. Yeah, holy cow. Everybody, but if you show up next time, we'll get you. And if you time after that, we'll get you then. So yeah, we've got Kendra, Repacharge, Amira. Oh, Amira's we handled, didn't we? Yes.
Okay, yep, we handle mirrors. So we got Kendra, Repicharge, Haley, Magician Jester, and Akil. All you guys.
All you guys. See if we can get them all done tomorrow or next time.
Next time, yes. So everybody come back.
We'll congregate here next Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And we'll just roll them out for you guys one by one. Because we won't do two at a time. That would be weird. You wouldn't be able to understand anything.
Haley asks if she never shows up, will it be forgotten?
What? No, but then we would never do it because you wouldn't be here.
Right. We want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Princess. That's the perfect. It will not be forgotten. Only waiting patiently. Yes.
Yeah, you know the one. Sorry, we had the one. We had one from like.
We had the one.
We had the one from months ago. Then we did it when he came back. You remember that? No, you probably don't. No.
With my butt in the air.
Put your hand on the floor, put your butt in the air. Shake it around like you just don't care. Yes, the one.
You're welcome, Jack.
Record Jack says, he sends
yes.
I can sleep peacefully. Thank you. Is that all you were waiting for, Jack? You just wanted me to do the friend or the song?
Yeah, he said, Joe Bongos, please. This is the one. He wrote that on there. So I had to do it.
Yep. Joe Bongos, please. This is the one.
Yes.
This is the one.
Yes. I've trained Ryan well. It's like Pavlov's dog. You ring the bell and salivate. I play the bongos. Ryan says, this is the one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just that whole quote is great.
Re-listen to this just for that. I tell you, it's awesome.
You ring the bell, the dog salivates. I play the bongos. Ryan says, this is the one. Perfect.
That's right. So everybody go to the Static P channel and watch Criminal Idol, because there's going to be some new ones coming out, and you better get, caught up. Better get up to date. You better go re-listen to them so you can be at the right place in the story for it. So, yeah. Go to Static P.
Thanks for advertising me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hey,
I appreciate it. You're great.
Hey, you're not going to do it, so I have to.
That's probably true. All right. Thank you guys for coming here. We love you all. And we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye, guys.